Greetings, sports entertainment enthusiasts! This is CAW Acadian champion Homeless Bob, and you are currently watching Wrestle Geeks Recaps, catching you up on AEW Dynamite, NXT, and so very much more.
Welcome to our first Wrestle Geeks recaps for Impact Wrestling. We are changing up the format, as we mentioned on the Random Talks video from Sunday. So this episode is just going to be every Tuesday morning. We're going to be releasing a Impact recap to get you ready for tonight's episode of Impact. So we do record this usually a day or two before. So if we will talk about some news at the end of the video, but sometimes things so if something gets announced and we didn't talk about it, chances are it was after we recorded. So please like, share, subscribe, especially if you like the new format. I'm your host, the geek, Trevor Firth, and this is my new co-host for Impact, Jordan Talbot.
Hello, everybody. This is Jordan Talbot, ready to talk about Impact Wrestling. Like the man said, you better hit that like and subscribe button, and hopefully you like what you hear, people.
So on this episode, man, we got Impact and No Surrender, which No Surrender was really cool. But before we get into that, quickly, we want to talk about each of us a little bit when it comes to our Impact Wrestling fandom, where we started with it. So I've only been really a hardcore Impact fan since Anthem came in. And even then, I didn't jump on right away with Anthem. It took me a little while to become steady. But I've been watching them steady for at least 2-3 years now. You?
I would say I've been around since the beginning of 2002.
Nice.
So I've had the pleasure of watching them both the pleasure and displeasure of this company from going amazingly high to beyond the words low.
Yeah, the history of Impact is really, really intense.
Yeah.
There's some crazy things that happen in there, and some things that are so, like, probably some of the best stories in wrestling, and some of the worst stories in wrestling.
It's very sad, but that's how a company grows, sadly.
Yeah.
It can never be easy.
No, but at least we're the days of Dixie Carter, and the days, Anthem has their shit together.
Oh, that is very true.
Say what you want about Don Callis. A lot of people have a lot of negative to say about Don Callis, but look, he's done nothing but good for Impact. Mm-hmm. And Scott D'Amore, I have nothing but the utmost respect for that man. So
it's a very I think the reason people have a problem with Don Callis is I think a lot of people are looking at that he's one of those people who's too on camera, maybe he's too, out there in front, like a lot of big named promoters behind the scenes. But let's just be honest. Impact before Don and Scott was dead in the water. Yeah. Nobody could say that it was going to get better. But these guys in 2 years have taken this company that we all laughed at and has made it into a company that people want to go to.
Yes. And we had certain people, certain workers are absolutely stuck around and made it possible. Guys like Sami Callihan, guys like Eddie Edwards.
Yep.
But let's go into this first Impact TV for February 9th.
Mm-hmm.
So when it goes on air, we have Josh Alexander making his entrance, and we already have in the ring as heels, all in the same team, Ace Austin, Daivari, which completely shocked to see Daivari out of nowhere. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I do have a theory about that, which we'll get into at the end of the episode. Please remind me if I forget.
Alrighty.
Blake Christian, who is not making his Impact debut, but I was really hoping this was going to be big. Like, this is a big thing for Blake, I was hoping.
Yeah.
And Chris Bay.
Right.
Then we have on the faces, Suicide and Willie Mack are already in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, Josh Alexander is making his entrance. And then we get Trey Miguel. Obviously, the reason why these two get their interest is because these are the two guys that are getting pushes. These are the two guys that Impact wants us to care about, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
I will admit, I was confused when it went on air because I was like, oh, is this a 6-man tag? Oh, wait, no, is it a 8? It's an 8-man tag? Okay, what are the teams?
Right.
Like needing commentary to tell me Blake Christian's in the ring and Davari's in the ring because like these are guys we don't see often.
Yep.
I did not like that.
Right.
Ultimately, though, this was just a setup for the Triple Threat Revolver match, which, man, I love the rules for that.
Very, very clever. Whoever thought of that, give them a raise or something. That is very clever stuff.
It's really cool. So just to go over it really quickly, the rules are you have 3 competitors in the ring. When one gets eliminated, one person gets pinned or submits, another person comes down until all contenders have gone through, and then it ends with an actual triple threat. So it's cool. They're going to do that for the X Division number 1 contendership. Trey ends up winning by tapping out Blake Christian with his, I believe they called it the Hourglass?
Maybe. Could be that one. I have to think about that one.
Then Callahan taunts Trey at the end on the screen, furthering their story. But overall, how do you feel about the match and that?
Well, first off, I gotta be honest on this. In terms of the faces, I always will love Josh Alexander, and Willie Mack will always be one of my top guys.
Okay.
Always loved him. But I'm looking at the heels in this one, and I see more potential with the heels than I do with the faces. Chris Bay, I just literally see nothing but a superstar on him.
Agreed.
And I could go on and on about Ace Austin. I think this guy literally is the future. If you could find a guy with his more potential, I really don't see it with anyone else.
I really have to agree with you on Ace Austin. I feel like Impact strapped a rocket to his back a little too quickly.
Yeah.
I don't blame them for like jumping the gun with that because at the time the roster was kind of thin and they kind of needed it.
Right.
It's just it feels like now there's like nowhere else for him to go almost.
Yeah.
But no, Ace Austin is a megastar, and I agree with you. I think the heels stood out in this match,
right,
more than the faces did. The heels were more impressive overall.
I do like, though, I will give Impact credit on this one. Trey Miguel coming back, I was very iffy about it because, let's really be honest, out of the 3 Rascals, the tag team going to NXT was a big deal, and a lot of people looking at Trey going, well, what's he going to do? But they must have faith in him because if you are put in a feud with, in my opinion, maybe the top, if there's always top 3 in a wrestling company, and Sami Callihan is easily in that top 3 for the fact that in his feuds, he always does something. Oh.
Yeah. Sorry there. But Callahan's that guy who never needs a title. Callahan's that guy who is 100% storyline based. Like he doesn't need anything. And I feel like it's a little similar to the Rich Swann storyline, and they're probably going to somewhat replicate the Rich Swann Sami Callahan feud. So like, Trey's going to win the X Division title, and then Sami's going to come after him for the X Division belt, and it's fine. I'm cool with that. Or maybe maybe he'll do Sami first, and then he'll go for the X Division. Maybe they'll change it up.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I'm looking at it from this point. Sami Callihan, whoever he works with, he's going to make look like a star. And
Absolutely.
If you're going to take Trey Miguel and hype it up that he is now on his own, you got to put him in there with somebody who's going to make him look like $1 million.
Yeah.
And Sami Callihan does that. And Sami Callihan does that, yeah.
He really does. He elevates everybody.
Yeah.
Match 2, we get Kimberly versus ODB. We have Deonna Purrazzo and Susan at ringside. At some point during the match, there's a little bit of distraction stuff. At some point during the match, though, Jazz and Jordan Grace come down to help even out the odds. Unfortunately, after ODB does a dive to the outside, Kimberly takes advantage of all the distraction at ringside and is able to roll her up to steal the win. Later on, we do get a little promo of Susan being like super upset and demanding a 6-woman tag match.
Mm-hmm.
So the match is actually pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Like Kimberly is really good
Oh,
as
very
well.
much. Yeah.
I feel like she man, NXT did her wrong.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
When she debuted in the Mae Young with they gave her essentially a roll up as a
Mm.
finisher. They gave her Mae Young's signature move. I'm like,
Ugh.
a roll up
Yeah.
in 2017, I think it was.
Yeah.
And like,
One of those.
what are you doing? So no, they set her up to fail.
Mm-hmm.
Impact has done nothing but good for her.
Oh,
I feel
yeah.
like she's really grown since she got here.
Very true.
But
If oh, go ahead. No.
I was right about to ask. Just seeing ODB back and stuff like that. How do you feel about that?
I am always iffy when you bring back somebody who has been away for a while, because I will always believe that yes, bring them back, but guess what? You got this other person that's new, fresh,
Yeah,
built that person. The way I looked at this match was, I have said it a million times. Kimberly has been one of my favorite indie wrestlers. I completely agree with you. They did her horribly in NXT, but that just shows you sometimes even NXT doesn't know what they do.
exactly. They don't get everything right.
Yeah, but I am going to be shocking a lot of people when I say the person who won me over in this was Susan, and I will admit, I'm one of those people who it takes a while for something to warm up to him or to win him over.
Okay.
First, when she came in as Sue Young, I thought, oh my God, this is cool. I love it. Then she
Yeah,
became the bubbly Susie,
yeah, I really enjoyed both of those. Su Young,
which
I knew a
was
little bit from the indie scene before,
yeah, yeah.
but the Susie character was cool, really
Oh
fun.
yeah, I was very
Susan, I'm
impressed.
not behind it yet, but keep going.
With the Susan character, I'm kind of liking it because they're letting it grow organically. They're not saying
Yes,
that, oh, she was this undead bride, which I still say was one of the greatest characters I've ever seen. Then the Susie thing, which I thought, oh, this is weird, but it worked. And now Susan is just winning me over with how completely different the character is from the last two.
true. I feel like she's not quite enough of a Karen to get her character off across. I
Hmm.
feel like she needs to dial it up a bit more, but she's doing this with time. It's
Yeah,
being gradually brought up, so it's good. Overall, it's getting there anyway for
yeah,
me.
the main thing. They give
Um,
I will give Impact Wrestling this credit. They let their female stars get over, on not a fast pace. They let them slowly get over. And,
yes.
you got to give credit to that company for having the
Well,
faith in women to do that.
it's also the that TV taping style, right? Like when you do TV tapings 6 weeks at a time, sometimes it makes it that like you got to go at something and hope that people like it.
Yeah.
And you have 6 weeks, and it's like if they don't like it, well, guess what?
Sad.
It
Yeah. You have to
ain't
sadly
going
accept it.
nowhere.
It is there for you people to sadly watch.
Yes, it's both a crutch, it's a bane and it's a blessing at the same time. I've seen them do some really good, smart things with it.
Hmm.
TV tapings can be really awesome because they've been able to use people in interesting ways, like back when the borders were open and they were
Yeah.
doing shows in Mexico, shows in Canada, shows in the States. It was like
Yeah.
Impact could have anybody at any time almost, it felt like.
Yeah.
I mean, we're there again, mind you, with the Forbidden Door open, but
Yep. The Forbidden Door.
but to go back to the bringing back Legends, I'm with you on that one. I am not for bringing back Legends 90% of the time. Like the episode before this one brings back Hernandez again, brings back Mahabali Shira. I mean, Hernandez wasn't really gone, I suppose. He had just been
Yeah.
off TV for a bit. But like, I was cool with James Storm coming back, but I'm like, okay, guys, I need some fresh, like some new faces,
Yeah.
some young blood. Which is why I was happy to see Blake Christian, and even happy to see Davari
Yeah.
at that point, because like I have like he's undefeated in MLW right now, and he is tearing it up with Contra Unit.
Oh yeah. I'm
So
a
I
big
mean,
fan of Contra Unit.
yeah, It's what I know best from
sincerely
MLW.
wish that they would bring in Jacob Fatu.
Oh,
That guy is a star.
no, like one day. But
Oh,
ODB recently, she had a food truck, right?
yeah.
Recently, the warehouse where her food truck was at got broken into, apparently. And
Oh,
not
Lord.
just hers, but a bunch of other people from her area that use that storage for their food trucks all got hit, and they lost everything.
That is, yeah. Not good.
So normally I'm not for returning legends, but this is literally Impact helping out one of their own in a time of need.
Yeah.
So, and knowing that though helps.
Yeah.
It makes it
That's
more
okay.
palatable to the fans.
Oh, yeah.
Um, After this, we get the Johnny Swinger Casino, where they kick out Falaba for not having any money left. How do you feel about Swinger? Like, I hate the casino thing. Swinger is.
Eh,
They need
I
to
think
dial
he's,
him back for me, but
yeah. I would have to say, Johnny Swinger is one of those times where he is the definition of hit or miss. You can either
yes.
love what he does, and there are times where he does things where I'm laughing because I'm
Oh
having
yeah,
a good time. Then there's things he does where I'm like, well, why is this guy on air?
it's Impact. It almost feels like they feel like they have to use everybody on the roster, right? They're
Yeah.
like, oh, our roster's so small, we're gonna get everybody on TV, and I'm like, well, slow down.
I mean, his stuff in Wrestle House, I think it was.
That was the
The
peak
whole
for me.
that was to me some of the most fun stuff I've ever watched
It
on
was so
Impact
good.
because I know there were some people and a lot of people I have friends who will say to me they hate the quote unquote mini movie vibe
I
of
understand.
wrestling.
Yeah.
I am sadly the opposite. I love the mini movie vibes. I love that feeling of, taking things and just making it feel cinematic. That's just my
Yes.
opinion. I'm not condoning everybody to enjoy what you want.
Um,
I think though, if you use it with certain wrestlers, it works.
Go check out Riptide Wrestling. It's a UK promotion.
Hmm?
Cara Noir.
Oh, I've heard of him. I'm a very big fan of Cara Noir.
They did Cara Noir versus Pac at Riptide Wrestling,
Ooh.
and from a cinematography camera working standpoint, right?
Mhm.
It was art.
Mhm.
That's the best way I can describe it. It was pure art.
There we go. There we go.
So next we have the Jake promo. So Violent by Design had invited Jake to join after Joe Dorian beat him down.
Mhm.
And Jake stands in the ring with them and says, "This is weird, but I understand why they're trying to work it in." So on the indie scene, he is Jake something.
Yep.
So he
Yep.
says, "If you don't stand for something, then
Yep.
you're gonna, then
Oh God.
you don't stand. You're gonna get fooled." And I stand for something. So now he's Jake something.
God. That just
I know. Impact needs to find a way of bringing in a small crowd of some kind because when little like jumping ahead to the pay-per-view a little bit here, but when he goes, "What's my name?" and then he splashes Diener, like,
yeah.
come on, man.
Uh,
I get it because if there was a crowd, I would have been yelling something at my
yeah.
TV.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, it's a real I'll first say this. There's a company called AAW Wrestling.
Yeah.
Jake something is as part of that company. That's where I first learned about him.
Okay.
Was very impressed with him, and I love the name. But I will admit, when he said that line, the "you got to stand for something" thing, I will tell you right now, I have never felt like,
You were face
what the?
palming,
Oh, do not babyface crap me right now.
right?
I'm sorry. There's just some things you don't do to. The next thing he could have said, he's like, "I stand for something. These kids stand for something. These
Yeah, like
children over
anything.
here stand for something." It's like, dude, oh my God.
I
I
know.
don't care what you are now. But at the same time, the saving grace in this is always going to be the Violent by Design.
Of
Eric
course.
Young is just
Mhm. Oh, I'm
awesome
just gonna
beyond what.
say it. I hate how Matt Striker calls him EY.
Really?
I don't know why it just bothers me. It wrenches. Like I don't hear EY, I hear Eli,
Oh,
and
I get
maybe
it.
that's why it bugs me so much. I'm just like, so what? Oh no,
Yeah,
okay, EY. Like it took me a
yeah,
second, and I'm just like, I don't know. It bugs me when he says it.
yeah. I will say this: I like the new commentary team of Matt Striker
Yes,
and Elo more than Josh Matthews and I'm drawing a
I
blank.
was.
Who was the
Well,
person next to him?
Don Callis was originally was Josh Matthews and Don Callis, and
Yeah,
then it
and I thought
became
that was
Josh
very.
Matthews and Madison Rain.
Hmm.
You said Eli the first time.
Um, and Madison Rain and Josh, I enjoyed purely because I know they're married.
Hmm.
And if you know they're married, their banter is gold. Because they kept
I.
making jokes about like taking their shot.
Uh,
Johnny Bravo was like taking his shot with Rosemary, and he's staring at her, and she goes, "No, don't do it, Josh. What? Don't take your shot." Cancel the music, guys.
I will say, I'll say now hearing that, that just made me give them better appreciation. But I was sadly on that bandwagon of Josh Matthews, please go away. And when I heard Matt Striker, I was like, okay,
Yes.
I'm happy with this one. And D'Lo Brown, always loved him.
Surprisingly good. Surprising.
Yeah,
He blew me out of the water. I didn't think D'Lo was going to be as good as he is.
yeah. And
Not to like undersell him.
it's nothing against them as commentary. Josh
Oh,
Matthews, praise to him for staying with the company for as long as he did.
he's still involved. He got a
Yeah, he's
promotion.
still in there. Yeah, he's in there, still in the back.
He's off commentary because he got promoted.
That is, I don't even. Yeah,
So, I mean, but Josh does like 7 backstage things. Like Josh Matthews is has made himself absolutely essential to Impact Wrestling.
yeah.
Like they need him to keep. Well, I don't think they need him to keep going, but they know how much losing him would hurt them,
Oh,
right?
definitely. Oh, yeah.
Like, and a lot of people don't know how much work he does in the backstage. Exactly how, like, people give him shit constantly, and I am one of them. I did not like his commentary,
Oh, yeah.
but I will never undercut or undersell how much work that man puts in.
Oh, yeah. I
It's
completely agree.
incredible.
Yeah.
We have Rohit Raju backstage talking up Mahabali Shira. And I gave my opinions on this last week about Shira and Rohit, how it's never worked before,
Hmm.
mostly because like Rohit's great, Shira's great. They just don't work together for me.
Yeah.
Because one is so obviously a heel and one is so obviously a face, and it's yeah. So that's my
Yeah.
opinion on it.
I completely agree on that. I really believe Rohit should just be on his own.
Right? He doesn't need it. Or man, who's that guy he teams up with on the indie scene right now?
Oh, I know who you're talking about. It's right on the tip of my tongue, too. I can't figure that one out.
I saw him during like Rohit had a match at Fight Forever for GCW, and I saw him during Rohit's entrance, but I've never actually seen the guy wrestle, so I
Yeah.
can't remember his name. But that would be new. That would be different. That would be
Yeah.
something else.
I don't know if they are trying to keep the Hizzy, I can't remember, Hit Squad, whatever the hell
Desi
it's
Hit
called.
Squad, yeah.
I don't know if they're trying to keep that. I sadly think they should just throw that out.
Honestly, I
And,
like him being called the Desi Hitman
yeah, I like that,
because
but the
like
whole squad thing should
yeah,
just
because like Desi
go.
Hitman is like a throw to his Indian heritage, his Hindu heritage,
Mhm.
and to the fact that he's actually Canadian.
Yeah.
So like Bret
Well,
Hart, the Hitman. So
yeah, I have seen him wrestle live, so I've gotten the pleasure to see him on his
oh,
own as a heel. And, you know, before seeing him, I was like a lot of people going, why is he, what is so special about this guy? But yeah, he needs to be one of those guys on his own.
yes, we get the AEW advertisement from Tony Khan and Tony Schiavone,
Now my
and Tony
favorite part of the
Khan.
show.
I love this.
Oh my God, I love it.
So Tony Khan is straight up losing it at this point, right? And he's just like,
Yep.
"I'm the forbidden door. It's
Yes.
me. I just
Oh
had to
my
open up
God, I love it.
myself."
Yep. That is,
Oh,
this is the way
genius.
Tony Khan had to do it. Here's the way he could have done it. He could have literally done it the Vince McMahon evil
Yep.
billionaire thing.
Absolutely.
he could literally do what he is, which is a giant wrestling fan who is rocking the company everybody loves, and it's just literally rubbing it in your face about it.
UWF.
UWF.
Herb.
Oh,
that
Herb.
it?
Yeah, I know what you
Yeah.
mean. Yep. Oh, yeah. Now
Yeah.
I get you. I was literally thinking of like, oh my
This
god.
is the inspiration. I
Oh,
am
wow.
so sure that guy's gradual meltdown is totally Tony Khan's
I
inspiration
am
for all
hoping
of
to
this.
God he does not go that far deep
Well,
on
no.
me.
No, like that was all reality, which is the
Yeah.
problem. That's why it didn't work back then.
I will say how people are just like, what an asshole this guy's being, rubbing it in everyone's
I
face.
know.
That's the genius of it, though.
Mm-hmm.
He could literally be the guy, and the Forbidden Door thing is, oh my god, one of
And-
those things where you hear and you're like, yes.
And he's taking exactly what all the WWE like super fans who are like, oh, Tony Khan's eventually going to become an authority figure like everybody else, right? He's taking that and he's just turning it up to like 15. He's
There
I'm
you
gonna
go.
take all your fears and I'm just gonna turn it up and show you how ludicrous this is. And I love it. It's so good.
Yeah.
But he also ends up thanking Kenny and Callis for like opening his mind because like New Japan, all this stuff wouldn't be happening if it wasn't for them.
Yep.
Like, man, it was so good.
It's a very amazing thing when you realize that the old style of wrestling where it was companies are all their own deserted islands is pretty much dead now, apart from
Yes.
WWE.
I love that. WWE is just like, oh, let's just make more shows that all feel the same.
No, but NXT, the fact that we can actually sit here as wrestling fans and realize we are seeing we're seeing AEW guys at an Impact Wrestling show or New Japan guys showing up is, I don't know how to this explain it other than it's beautiful.
Okay, man. Just if I get who I want to win the Japanese side of the AEW Women's Elimination Tournament bracket, if I get Maki Ito on the same show as like fucking Kenta and Kenny, sorry, I try not to swear at that show, but it happens. On the same show as like Kenta and Kenny and like, man, that is like, first of all, just seeing Maki Ito on American soil again is insane because it's so rarely happened. So like, yeah, no, any of those women in Tokyo Joshi Pro, they're all incredible. I started deep diving on it recently, and oh my god, there's some really cool stuff that's happening over there.
I have to say this and I'm saying this for a lot of people who are stupid enough to say that women wrestlers cannot have good matches like male wrestlers, which I'm going to say this now. Could we please all grow up on that one, please?
I'm very much a firm believer that if you have a problems with a trans wrestler, if you have a problem with a gay wrestler, if you have a problem with a women wrestler, if you have a problem with anything, any of these kind of wrestlers trying to make a living, I don't want you as a viewer.
Yeah,
straight up. No. Wrestling is for everybody. Wrestling is the most inclusive, should be the most inclusive thing in the world. I want to say at this point. Yeah. Let's go to the Good Brothers, though.
Oh, here we go.
They say they're going to take out Storm and Sabin. No problem, because they're great. They're absolutely, and they're between the two of them, they're part of the three most legendary tag teams in Impact history. But the Good Brothers weren't around for any of those eras. And even when they're done with them, it's gonna be the same thing with Private Party. They're gonna do the same old classic recipe: Magic Killer, a 1, 2, 3, and a just too sweet.
Beautiful.
I mean, cookie cutter, but just what it needs to be.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful thing and this I also will shout out for people who want to be pro wrestlers. What they just did is the simplest thing to build up an opponent. They just gave props to their opponent for what they've done. They didn't do the whole like, oh, we hate you guys. Nope.
They didn't trash them.
They just gave respect to them for being part of 3 of the best tag teams ever and gave them props.
Yep. They made Private Party feel like an afterthought, but that's totally because they're on purpose, just to insult them.
And I will admit, it was the shock of my life seeing Private Party show up in Impact.
It was really cool, man.
And
See,
Matt-
honestly, when Jerry Lynn got up, I was losing it. I couldn't believe it, man. Like holding my head, grabbing my hair, like, oh my god, is this actually happening?
didn't believe that. I did not believe Jerry Lynn actually did something heel.
Right? It was so crazy.
Jerry, what the hell?
Match 3, we get Kiera Hogan versus Nevaeh.
Mm-hmm.
And this was... I was not a fan of this. So, first of all, this show had too many DQ finishes and too many, like, stupid things.
Yep.
Too many dirty finishes. But Nevaeh wins by DQ because Tasha Steelz straight up just gets seen by the ref. Like, she's waiting in the ring to do her code breaker. Ref turns around, staring at her, says, "Don't do it," and then she does it. And then she wonders why they got DQ'd. The match is, like, first of all, it's weird to see Jessica Havoc as a face, but after the match, one of the best promos I've ever seen from Scott D'Amore and from Fire and Flava. Like, Akira was great in this one, so was Tasha. Like, I'm a fan of theirs, but the way they were just bitching away a storm, just blah, 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 you could hear them coming, like, before they even get to the door.
Beautiful.
Perfect. Oh yeah, man. Like, and he's just like, you know what? Yeah, we're gonna get rid of her. We're gonna get rid of him. It won't even matter. And then he makes the match a no DQ match. He gives a no DQ match because he's like, oh well, you just said it right. Like, Nevaeh just beat you, and Havoc beat you, so I have to give them a title match.
Yep.
And like, oh, it was great.
Yeah, I will say, I'll say, Fire and Flava. I think that's their name. Fire and Flava.
Fire and Flava.
Yeah, I first of all love the name. It's freaking cool.
I
will agree with you completely. Jessica Havoc is just, I don't know, as a face, does not do it.
No, it doesn't work.
She should be a heel.
Mm-hmm.
Nevaeh is, I think she's a great wrestler. I think she has talent.
Honestly, to me, Jessica Havoc and Nevaeh are the female equivalent to what the Road Warriors used to be back in the day.
Yeah.
They show up in a promotion that has a women's tag team division, and then they wreck everything.
Yeah.
Build up a tag team, make them look like stars when they finally beat them, and then move on.
Mm-hmm. Very true.
This is exactly what the Road Warriors used to do.
They were right. They were okay.
I mean, I appreciate a lot of the I like that mentality that they would do. Like, they ended up doing a lot for tag team wrestling in wherever they would go. Like, tag team wrestling would grow as they would leave places behind.
Completely agree on that. Yeah.
So yeah, Scott D'Amore set it up, and when they're angry, they're like, "You're hotline bad. You got this. Come on, you're the Knockout Tag Team Champions. Don't worry."
People forget that Scott D'Amore. People forget this, and you may not know this because you started off just a few years ago in wrestling with Impact. Scott D'Amore was a manager of a group in TNA called Team Canada.
Canada, yes.
And people forget because he is now behind the scenes. They think he can't really cut promos anymore, but it's one of those things where you can still have it even if you don't do it for a while.
Well, I'm enjoying how little of this is actually a character.
Yeah.
Based on what I've heard of the man, because I've never met him personally, of course. But based on what I've heard of the man, he's a very no-nonsense but loves to fool around kind of guy.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing.
Like, don't screw around when it comes to wrestling, but you can fool around when it comes to anything else.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's kind of what he's like. So, this character, like, this no-nonsense, I'm going to, like, play around and poke fun at you authority figure just really works out well for him. And it works well for Impact.
Oh, yes, very much.
Like, I don't think that would work very well anywhere else right now. Match number 4 is, we get a terrible promo from Tenille. This
Yeah.
promo honestly made me feel like Tennille didn't have anything rehearsed or planned ahead of time, and she just came out to the ring and just winged the whole thing. I honestly felt that way because her promos are usually much better than this.
Mm-hmm.
And because like she calls them tooth decay and stuff, and I'm like, okay, I never want to hear this promo again. Done. But Caleb with the K says that he wants some action, that he'll challenge
I will
any.
say this: that is the best wrestling name I've ever heard. By the way,
Caleb with the K. Okay, he is so good at playing this character that I didn't realize he was Caleb Connolly until he actually wrestled, and I was like, I know that style.
yeah. When I saw that too, I was trying to convince people. It's like, no, people are like, why is Caleb Conley doing that? That's like, no, that's Caleb with the K.
Well,
And that's, to me, if he had a shirt right now, I would buy that shirt.
yeah. Well, I don't
People
know
watching this, if there is a shirt that is available with that guy,
let us know.
let us know.
Yeah. I don't know if he still is, but he was Suicide for a while too.
Yeah.
So he could be pulling double duty and actually still be Suicide. I don't know if he still is, but he was doing Suicide on the indie scene a few years ago.
Yeah.
But anyway, the big thing from this is that we have Black Taurus making his debut with Decay. And I've only seen this guy I've maybe seen 3 or 4 matches with Black Taurus in it, but when he walked out, I was so happy. I'm like, this is perfect. This is perfect. This is what I want from Impact.
Very
when
true.
they're debuting new talent, like, show me this shit.
Yes. Well, for me, I am a huge fan of Decay. To me,
same.
I will say this without question: Rosemary is one of the best I've ever seen.
Chris Van Vliet once called her the Queen of Kayfabe, and I yes, 100%.
I've seen her in person, and it is, and I'm just gonna say this because it is honest about it, ladies and gentlemen. She's one of those girls that are so scary, yet you really want her to have your number. That kind of girl. And you guys could all say that's weird, but we all have met that one girl that's scary.
The girl that you're so scared of that you're kind of turned on by it.
Oh my god, she is just that kind of girl where you're just like, do not hurt me, but please do if it makes you want to talk to me.
Oh, it's great.
But Decay, I've always been a huge fan of. I've loved their theme song is one of my favorites.
Yes.
Crazy Steve is just awesome. I've always been a fan of his. And yes, Black Taurus is just a perfect fit for this group.
Absolutely. I can't he has his look is surreal, man. Like it's just so surreal. It is. Yeah. I showed a friend. Like I play Dungeons and Dragons. And we play in a Greek myth based setting. One of my friends is playing a Minotaur.
Oh, there you go.
Who described himself as having like dark skin and black fur, and so I was just like, dude, and like he's a gladiator fighter and shit. So I was like, look, man, it's you. And he's like, holy crap.
Yeah. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm scared right now. Rosemary's got to see what I wrote, and I am now scared, ladies and gentlemen. I'm now actually looking behind, making sure.
If Rosemary ends up watching this show, I will be honored.
I would be honored and also terrified, then go back to honored.
The match itself is just Black Taurus destroying Caleb.
Yeah. One thing I hate about Black Taurus. How could you hurt the greatest name ever?
How could you hurt the greatest? Yeah, I suppose. Next, we get a Brian Myers promo. Oh, it's not really a promo. It's just a backstage segment where him and Hernandez are discussing payment. And they come to terms because now it's a tag team match, not the same agreement. But what I really hate is you have Fallah Bahh in the background just watching the wad of cash. And I'm like, no. Leave that stupid money storyline in the past. That was before Hard to Kill. We don't talk about that no more. Before Hard to Kill and after Hard to Kill is not supposed to be
Yep.
the same thing here, guys. Like, Hard to Kill was a turning point for Impact. Come on, keep it going.
Yeah.
Don't bring up that stupid shit again.
I sadly, and I know a lot of people are a fan of his, but Hernandez, I've lost so much interest. And it's not because he isn't talented. I believe he's still one of the best, a really talented wrestler, but it's once again the thing of bringing a guy back so many times that you have now lost any interest. Because I believe he has been brought back 3-4 times, and it's just not anymore.
To me, like, the whole Hernandez thing, when they did LAX versus the OGs is when it ended for me. I have no more interest in seeing Hernandez or Homicide on Impact. I will watch them elsewhere, but I have no more interest in watching them on Impact.
I agree. I completely agree.
Yeah. I have issues with them doing the Brian Myers and Matt Cardona thing so early too. That's just stupid booking in my opinion. They should have drawn that out. But we'll see where it goes, I guess. It's unfortunate.
It could go anyway. Either way.
I feel like Myers they were doing such a good job with him, and then like as soon as Cardona got there, like everything just got derailed. Anyway, next we have Chris Sabin and James Storm challenging the Good Brothers for the titles. And Sabin and Storm win by DQ, which, again, too many dirty finishes on this show, when Private Party come out and interfere.
Yeah.
And Matt Hardy was obviously goading them on to do it. Good Brothers don't seem to care, because they're like, fuck it, we keep our titles, we don't care.
Pretty much.
After the match, D'Amore comes up to them, and he seems to like be playing along with them at first, saying like, "Oh yeah, like I'm gonna do you one better than ban Sabin and Storm from ringside at your match at No Surrender. They can't interfere with your match if they're in it." And he turns it into a triple threat, and then Hardy's like blaming them all of a sudden because it's Private Party's fault.
I will say this about the match. First of all, Matt Hardy I'm loving the big money Matt character. I am loving. I know a lot of people are looking at it like, oh, they wish he did the broken Matt, but Matt Hardy is smart enough to know you cannot do the same thing all the time.
Well, he did the broken Matt Hardy gimmick when he got to AEW, and it wasn't getting positive responses. So the people were still saying that they want it. It's not the majority.
Very much, yeah.
And that's, sorry guys, but that's how it works.
And this is the reason I like the AEW Impact relationship, is because as we see, Private Party is getting a rub with some very established tag teams.
Oh yeah.
And it's gonna help them in the long run. I'm a huge fan of Private Party. I see a lot of potential. And I just hope this really does work out for these guys, because they are very talented.
Well, like, it wasn't supposed to be James Storm. If everything went according to plan, Alex Shelley would still be here, and this would have been Private Party versus the Motor City Machine Guns. You know what I mean? Like, that's a completely different ball game, and that means a heck of a lot more, in my opinion. But we can still do this match. Later down the line now, at least. But yeah, no, the match itself was fire. Like, it was great.
When you have two teams that are full of guys that know tag team wrestling, I mean, let's face it, James Storm is a legend when it comes to tag team wrestling.
Yeah.
Chris Sabin is awesome in tag team wrestling. And the Good Brothers, we can write a novel of how good they are.
Yes.
I mean, we can all forget about what happened in the WWE, but if you're a true wrestling fan, you know how good these guys are.
Yeah, you know. Next we get the contract signing. Yeah.
I love the whole shtick with them, the Good Brothers. They are still hilarious to me. Unbelievable how good they are.
Oh yeah. They have that old school boys club feel to wrestling that some people feel like should be completely gone, but they're just like, no. I'm gonna swing my belt around like if it's my dick. Why?
I
Because I
literally,
want to.
when he does that, I am laughing so hard because it is something I know for a fact people do.
Yep. Yeah. That's the
I'm
thing.
sure
Because
there's a bunch of people right now telling me they do not do that. Bull crap.
no, they do stupid shit that guys do in the locker room out in front of the cameras. That's what makes them
I'm
so
just
fun.
I want just something like that every time they do that because it's
Yeah.
now funny as hell.
We get the contract signing with Tommy Dreamer,
Yes, we
and
do.
this is probably like some of the best promo work. Like Tommy Dreamer's a great promo, but
Oh
this is probably
yes.
some of the best promo work we've gotten from Dreamer in a decade.
Mhm.
Like, oh my god,
Yeah.
like this promo got me. I'm in. I was all in. I'm not a Dreamer fan. I'm not. I'm one of those guys who really believes Tommy Dreamer should have retired by now.
Mhm.
But I know No Surrender wasn't going to be a great match, but I know the story was going to be that good.
Yeah. Uh, I've always been a fan of Tommy Dreamer.
Mhm.
He has been always one of those guys that I looked at and just always, you could tell he does this because he loves wrestling. He
Yes,
doesn't do this to be the top guy. He does this to help wrestling.
and that's everything
And
he says in his promo, and it's gorgeous. I love it.
I will admit, I am a huge stickler for guys coming back after a while and getting into main events. If we look in this past 2 months alone, Edge won the Royal Rumble,
Yep.
and and I think he's over 50. I don't know. I can't tell.
No, he's over
Maybe
40.
no, he's over 40. He's
Yeah.
there. Japan, Keiji Muto, the greatest wrestler of all time, by the way. I will not put it down. Just won the Pro Wrestling Noah title, and he's 58.
Did he?
He
I don't
just won the
follow
Pro Wrestling.
Noah, so I did not
Yeah, he
know
won
that.
the title at 58. I could be age wrong on that. I'm very sure it's
Well,
58, but I
still,
know it's over.
no, Keiji Muta is like he's up there. Like
Yeah,
yeah, he's way up there.
great match, but either way, I was very terrified of seeing Tommy Dreamer in this situation in a main event. I thought the story was great, him getting a title shot for his 50th birthday. That was cool. But yes, the
Yeah.
promo that he cut is one of those promos where you go, okay, all my fears, putting them in the back, I
Yep.
kind of want to see him win.
Yeah,
That's
right.
just
I will admit a small
so
part of me like I think I'd be okay with it.
yeah.
And then
I
like the
was
rest of
even
me is screaming, "No, you won't."
I mean, Rich Swann is one hell of a competitor. I mean, we can all agree on that.
Hell yeah.
And Rich Swann, you know, is just awesome. I'm a huge fan of his. But I think we can all agree the guy who we are all looking at in this was Moose.
Yes.
Moose is the
Yeah.
guy who, yeah, we are looking at him, and all I could think about is, okay, this guy is getting
He's finally
closer.
ready.
Yeah,
He's finally ready.
yeah.
Um,
People have, I think, always looked at Moose and said, you know, he needs a couple more years or something like that.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
I looked at this guy, and you cannot tell me when he comes out, you are not interested in anything he does. This guy is a star.
Moose, I'll admit, like I'm not the biggest fan of his in-ring competition. I don't like his pacing.
Yeah.
I like faster paced wrestling
Mm-hmm.
for the most part. Even my slower paced wrestling, I find that he's just like his in-ring presence and style is dull to me for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
But his character work, I love it. It's phenomenal. It's
Unbelievable.
phenomenal. His character work is amazing, and like I'm one of those people who's just like sitting there going, "When are you pulling the trigger on Moose?"
Mm-hmm.
It's
I
like
agree. Me too.
we've been seeing it, and we knew this was coming. Like as Impact fans, we know that Moose was eventually going to get this push.
Oh yeah.
Because we see how much he deserves it. We see how hard he worked for it. He's been here like, my God, I remember seeing Moose fight Cody for the Impact Grand Championship, whatever, like, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like they should be hyping up Moose and Rich Swann more. I feel like that match should get hyped up. They need to do video packages.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Moose has a win on Drew McIntyre.
Yep.
Moose has a win on, like, if you really want to go start looking at it, Moose has a win on Bobby Lashley.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
if
Give
Impact
this guy a
delved
shot.
through their stuff and built the right video packages, they could make Moose feel like the biggest threat Impact I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, I completely agree.
They just need to do it.
Yes, agreed. Agreed.
So we're gonna jump into No Surrender now.
All right.
So February 13th, No Surrender. So I didn't remember that there was a No Surrender last year. I'll be honest. When looking at my notes, I'm looking up stuff. I'm like, oh, there's No Surrender last year too. But then I'm looking at the card and I'm like, I remember this card kind of. But it starts with a Dreamer promo,
Yep.
which is arguably almost as good as the promo that ended the Go Home
Oh,
show.
God. If you were not behind this guy before, you are now.
You are now, yeah,
Or
you're
just
100%
that.
behind Top Dreamer.
I watched it and I was like, okay, Dreamer's gonna do the thing, and then I was like, please win. Just let this guy get it. Even though I know he is the guy
Yeah.
who always
It's
doesn't
I
get
want to see
it.
Moose versus Swan, and it's the only reason why I didn't want Dreamer to win.
Yeah, very much.
Only reason. But the first match of the night, we get Triple XL to Neil Dashwood versus Decay.
Mm-hmm.
So, like always, Black Taurus looked incredible. This entire match was pretty hard hitting.
Mm-hmm.
Like between Taurus, Larry D, and AC Romero, like there's some pretty hard hitting stuff. Then we have Crazy Steve, who is legally blind.
Yep.
Apparently,
People didn't know that.
I only found that out recently, so my respect for him. I'm like, you're like a 6 out of 10 wrestler. I'm like, nope, you're an 8 out of 10 wrestler.
There you go. Yes, if you can do that legally blind.
Yeah. So he did some crazy spots in this. Rosemary and Tennille had some fun little spots in this. How'd you feel about the red shirt doing the Matador thing in front of Taurus?
I don't know. This one.
It was really stupid. It was
This
really stupid, but I laughed. I'm not gonna lie, it made me laugh.
I was looking at this going, oh God,
Mm-hmm.
don't, please, don't. This is no.
But it triggered like a succession of insane dives. And then Tennille gets power bombed onto everybody from AC Romero from inside the ring. Insanity.
Yeah.
But the ending comes when Rosemary sprays green mist on Romero on the outside. Tennille seems to have just had enough and is just leaving. And Taurus hits Larry D with his... I'm not sure exactly what kind of driver it is, but it's a driver.
Yeah.
And he hits Larry D for the win.
Yeah. Which is the right move to make, because if you're going to build a new member of Decay, you got to build it right.
Yes.
I am sadly not a huge fan of Double XL or Triple XL. I can't remember
Triple
which.
XL, I think.
I don't know how many X's they have, but I could care less. I like AC Romero. I'm a huge fan of his.
Mm-hmm.
Larry D is meh.
I feel like Larry D needs... I like him, but more of a singles guy.
Yeah, I agree.
He's like, to me, he's more like a hard-hitting brawler, smash mouth, old school smash mouth style guy.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of more what I want to see him doing. Like, he'd be a great fourth member for Violent by Design.
Oh, I completely...
If you're gonna do a fourth.
Yeah.
But overall, it was a fun match. It was enjoyable for what it was. I don't think No Surrender had a single bad match.
That's good for them. That's the main thing.
Match number 2 is the Hernandez and Brian Myers versus Eddie Edwards and Matt Cardona.
Mm-hmm.
So the end comes with at some point Hernandez had ripped off the turnbuckle to expose one, and the end comes when it's like halfway through the match that happens. So Myers eventually brings Cardona, smashes Cardona's head into it, and is able to sneak a win. I hated how often I could see past the eye patch.
Eh.
Like, he'd take a bump, and then I could see both of his eyes were wide open because I could see the angling, like just the eye patch was flipping.
Uh,
Yeah, it
uh,
just it was
I
great.
Where's mom?
I was looking at this match, and all I could think of was, first of all, huge fan of Brian Myers. I've already said how I
Yeah.
feel about Hernandez. Matt Cardona, always a pleasure, and Eddie Edwards is the heart of Impact Wrestling. We can
Yep.
all agree on that. This match, I tried to get interested in. It just didn't have me. I think
No.
it's mostly because I hate that Eddie Edwards was in a tag match for no reason. That's, to me, my feeling of it.
I kind of feel that way too. I just feel like Cardona was injected into this too early.
Yeah.
Overall, they decided to do something with Josh. I have a theory as to why some things just like took a hard right all of a sudden. That we'll go into. It has to do with something that was announced earlier today. So,
Oh boy.
yeah. So match 3 was this was probably my sleeper match. Diener versus Jake something.
Uh-huh.
This was so hard hitting,
Yep.
so brutal. This is
Yep.
everything it needed to be for the story. I loved it.
Yes,
I just
very good.
loved it. Jake wins with the black hole slam, but after the match, you have Violent by Design who come in to beat him up instantly, and then Joe Dorian power bombs him through a table off the turnbuckle.
There we go.
And I just want to say, when Joe Dorian comes in, I'm not sold on this guy yet because we haven't seen him do enough yet. But when this guy comes in wearing that bear pelt, it looks like he skinned that bear himself.
Yep, he has.
It looks like he hunted that thing, killed it, and skinned it himself.
Probably did. That's the thing.
Yeah. I mean,
This
I
match, yeah.
gets it across.
Oh yeah. For me, I've been a huge fan of Joe Dorian for a long time. For fans who don't know, he's been a big star over in All Japan. He's
Okay.
doing a lot of stuff there. So I've had the pleasure of watching him. I was thinking, oh, good for him to get here. But you are completely right. This match was two guys who. The great thing about this match, it shed away the whole Diener thing of Cody being the lovable Duck Dynasty guy.
Diener, yeah.
The Duck Dynasty thing. They finally kind of took that
Got
away.
rid of it. Mm-hmm.
I was not sold on M at first joining Violent by Design. I always have faith in Jake something. Always knew he could have a really good match, but this match won me over with Cody for being legitimately like, whoa, he is good for this group.
Yeah. One day I just randomly found out that Cody Steels and Cody Diener are the same person. And I was like, oh my god, this man's so much more impressive than I thought he was. Because I just realized how crazy his body of work was. But yeah, no, I loved it. This is so hard hitting.
Oh yeah.
Match number 4 is the Triple Threat Revolver, which, mark my words, somebody's gonna steal this concept.
Oh yes, that is a guarantee.
Trey Miguel, Suicide, and Blake Christian all started the match. With Chris Bay, Daivari, Josh Alexander, Willie Mack, and Ace Austin all waiting in the wings. So this one's going to take a little bit longer for the breakdown. So Suicide taps out Trey Miguel's Hourglass.
There we go.
We get Chris Bay that comes out, instantly does like a Spanish fly to the outside to Trey before he hits Blake with a Vertebreaker and pins him to eliminate him.
One of my favorites.
That was insane. First of all, the Vertebreaker was cool. The Spanish fly to the outside, like, I feel like Suicide didn't really do anything impressive. I feel like it really was just like, okay, we just got to go through the motions here.
Yeah.
And if it really is Caleb Connolly underneath that mask, then yeah, he's pulling double duty. I don't blame him.
Unbelievable.
Daivari comes out next, and he just ragdolls Chris Bay for a little while before he eventually eats a Meteora from Trey and gets pinned. Meteora is my personal favorite move, and it did not get enough. It doesn't get enough use, but how much Trey Miguel used it this one night, I am so happy.
There we go.
Next to come out is Josh Alexander, and he dominates. He even does like a double Death Valley drive at some point.
Which was beautiful.
Yeah, he's got he's got Chris Bay and Trey up for it. He does eventually tap out Bay with an ankle lock. Willie Mack comes out next. He hits an impressive Tower of Doom before eventually being eliminated, and this is one of the best eliminations, probably the best elimination of the night. He's got Josh Alexander in position for a fall-away slam, and Trey Miguel just jumps off the turnbuckle, hits him with a Meteora, uses the weight of Alexander plus himself to pin Willie Mack, and I'm like, that was. I had to rewind it and rewatch it a few times because it was just so well done.
It's beautiful when it happens right.
Yep. Ace Austin comes out as the final competitor. So our last three guys is kind of exactly what pretty much everybody predicted it would be. They all went insane, doing crazy, crazy things. Eventually, Josh hits his new power bomb on Ace Austin for the win. And yeah, Josh is getting pushed, as he should.
Yeah. I have to disagree on this. I was rooting for Ace Austin this entire thing. I have said it. I'm a huge Josh Alexander fan. I'm not going to knock him out. I have always loved his work.
Yeah.
I've seen him wrestle. He is just 100% the real deal. Trey Miguel, good for him, but I think we all knew
he was going to lose because of Sammy.
Because of Sammy. But like I've said, Ace Austin to me is the future. I get worried sometimes with companies when, in my opinion, they are not using a guy in the way I would. But at the same time, I have faith that they are not going to let this guy just walk away.
No.
A lot of people are now using the term the Ethan Page effect because we saw how that kind of went downhill.
But,
I don't think they're stupid enough to lose this guy, Ace Austin, because he is, people forget, he is very much still a kid in this business.
Absolutely. And from everything I've heard and like everything I've been able to read and like the stuff I trust, Impact knows what they have with Ace. They're quite aware of how good he is and how much he can mean to the future of Impact. I mean, I think I like Josh Alexander winning because I'd rather see Josh versus TJP than see TJP versus Ace. Because I've already seen it.
Okay.
I don't know if Impact did it. Did I see that in Impact? I'm not sure. But anyway, like I've already seen it, so I'm not as interested in it. Josh versus TJP is much more interesting to me.
Oh, that's cute.
But yeah, I think Josh beating TJP for the title maybe, and then having Ace Austin come after Josh and being Josh's first title defense, or possibly Josh just being the transition for TJP to Ace could be good, depending how they do it.
Yeah. For all the people feeling bad that I didn't get a kiss on the cheek by my girl, don't worry about it.
Well, this is going to be audio only, actually, so they might not have known that.
Well, they all feel it. They're all feeling the pain that I'm going through.
So, match number 5 is the Knockouts Tag Team Tornado No DQ. Fire and Flava versus Havoc and Nevaeh.
Everybody got that. He is not saying it twice.
Yeah, no, please no. Too much. One thing I will point out is that D'Amore said that Brandon Tull would not be the referee for this match, and he was.
Yep.
I'm like, guys, you only have like 3 refs. Like, come on.
Well, they should be lucky. At the company I work for, we only have pretty much 1 ref.
Ooh. Yeah. Actually, so do we.
Business, by the way.
Yeah, CAW only has the 1, and it's my wife, so. She Iron Woman's. So my big thing for this match is that they didn't do enough to make it feel like a no DQ feud ender. Overall, it was fun. It was good. I mean, I like the tornado aspect. They did
Mhm.
good with that. It's just not enough weapons. We had like
Yeah.
a chair, and then we had that handicap sign
Yeah.
that Nevea completely is completely ineffective with, and then Tasha Steele's hits her with a cutter on it,
Mm.
I believe. I mean, I'm hoping this feud is just done.
Yeah, I completely agree.
They've literally done everything they can with this feud.
Hmm. I will say this, Jessica Havoc, I was expecting her to be, the star of this match because she has done this kind of match. She's done no
A
DQ match.
lot.
I was very much hoping that she could do it. And before anyone says, "Oh, I'm trying to knock off a talent like this," no, it happens. Sometimes the match just does not work.
I mean, in a match like that, it depends how much your opponents want to take.
Yeah, that too.
Like, come on, let's face it. Kira and Tasha didn't really take any, like, no steps, no ring steps, no barricade spots, really. They didn't really take anything when it came to the, like, no ring post.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't take any nasty, no DQ style moves. To me, this was just
It
a tornado match.
it did not make sense to me at all.
They should have just made it a tornado match and just left
Yeah,
it
I
at that.
completely agree. Yeah.
But again, hopefully it's done and they can bring in some new talent and have some new contenders for them.
Hmm. I
Match
hope
number
they bring back
6.
the Sea Stars. I think the tag team was called the
Oh
Sea Stars.
yes, they were fun. They were good.
Yeah.
Like they didn't sign anybody who came in for that tournament, which was really dumb.
Yeah.
But I mean, I criticized AEW for not signing Tasha Steeles when they had the opportunity, and then Impact took her up the moment that they didn't, and I
Yeah.
don't blame them. So, but and then Impact kind of did the same when it came to the women's tournament, so tag tournament.
Yeah.
Match number 6 is the X Division title match between TJP and Rohit Raju with Mahabali Shira at ringside.
Hmm.
So Rohit beats the hell out of TJP before the bell even rings.
Yeah.
He tries to pin TJP, but the ref's like, the bell hasn't even rung yet.
Hmm.
And I do love the reffing in this, like how the ref is like, nope, until he gets up to his feet, until he's on his feet, I'm not starting this match.
There we go.
And that was great reffing.
Hmm.
Overall, this match was incredible for me. They
Hmm.
were countering each other's biggest moves constantly. This was like everybody was thinking, okay, Rohit versus TJP 3. Why should I care?
Yeah.
Like, because Impact found a reason to make you care. Like, because holy frig, this is insane. These guys just literally know all of each other's biggest moves at this point, know how to slip out of everything so seamlessly too. Like,
Hmm.
a lot of these reversal spots were just so perfectly timed. Rohit and TJP are both incredible workers.
Hmm. So my opinion on this match, I really truly believe that this is gonna be the match that finally gets people over with Rohit.
Hope.
TJP, we all know how good he is. Let's just be honest on that. I'm sorry to say, but it doesn't surprise me when TJP has a good match because
Same.
he is an incredible performer. Uh, Rohit Raju, I always am saying about guys like him when they come into companies like Impact and they have chances, they need that one match that gets people to say, "Oh wow, this guy is legitimate."
Yeah.
And
This is it for him.
yeah, I truly believe that fans are gonna, and I'm praying to God the fans look at this guy and start, instead of just thinking he's 1/3 of this hit squad. Now this guy is
Yeah.
a star. I really truly believe if the company lets this guy do his thing, he could be a very big star and possibly a main eventer.
I agree. 100% agree with that. He could be a main eventer in a lot of promotions.
Oh
He
yeah.
could be a main eventer almost anywhere.
I hope they do. Well, luckily, And I think fans should be happy with this about Rohit Raju. He is not doing something, and I am just really stressing this. I hate when wrestlers do the thing of like, oh, they're from another country or from wherever. They have to milk that gimmick of
Yeah.
being from there. It's, in my opinion, it's called the Russo effect, where okay, you're from Jamaica, so yeah, we're gonna give you dreadlocks, and I want you to
Yeah, of course.
just say listen to Bob Marley.
Have
But
you
yeah,
have you listened to Rohit's like full intros on the indie scene?
I have not.
Oh my god. Okay, you know how like what David Starr used to do?
Oh yeah,
The cream in your coffee, your wrestler's
yep.
favorite. Well, Rohit's like his mother calls him son because he shines like one.
There you go.
You know, like Rohit's got lines like that for himself too that he does in some places, and I'm like, oh, that's great. I love it. It's
Oh
so
yeah.
good.
But yeah, that's the biggest thing I want fans to realize is that he is not doing this character, he's from India, but
He
he's
doesn't
also
have to.
Canadian. He is,
Yeah,
I mean, really, the sun, that's just a line that, oh, come on, people. That's just awesome.
that's just a great line. And like I said earlier, Desi Hitman plays to both of just calling himself the Desi Hitman plays to both of his both of his heritage. So right there, that's all he needs. He doesn't need
Yeah.
to make any more references to it than that.
Mm-hmm.
Match number 7 is a throwaway match. The 6-woman tag with Deonna Purrazzo, Kimberly, and Susan versus Jordan Grace, Jazz, and ODB. This one it was messy, man. Okay, I take it back earlier. There was one bad match on the card. It was
There you
this.
go. Yeah. Everybody typing right now saying that, oh, come on, there had to be one.
Oh, there was one. It was this
There's
one.
one, ladies
Yeah.
and gentlemen. There you go.
So the end comes when like Jazz gets poked in the eye, accidentally punches Jordan Grace in the face, but still manages to finish off Susan and get the win.
Mm.
So I'm like, so Jordan Grace doesn't care that she got punched in the face? So why did it happen? Like, I don't know.
Jordan Grace.
She's a really hit and miss, man. She's great in the ring, but at the same time, like,
yeah,
there's something missing.
Mm-hmm. I'm a huge fan of every woman in this match. And like I said before, even people that have been around, like ODB and Jazz,
Yeah.
still a huge fan of their works.
Yep.
I have
Don't know why this
recently
match
just
didn't
been
work.
told what ODB stands for, which is pretty sad.
I think I know what it stands for.
I have no idea what it stands for. I literally, it's like one day babe. I don't know what the hell this is.
Oh no, it's totally old dirty bitch.
Oh wow, ladies and gentlemen, I did not know.
Because like ODB was old dirty bastard, like that's the male version, right? So like, yeah, it's totally They made I think Stryker made a reference to it on commentary really quickly.
Oh, there you go. But I'm a huge fan of all the women in this match. Kimberly, I think, is a future star.
Yeah.
Susan, like I said, I love the character work with her. Love the whole suit thing. That's different. Deonna Purrazzo, she is just an incredible worker.
She chose the correct term. The virtuosa. She really is. Like, there's nothing that encompasses what she is better than that right now.
Yeah, she is, in my opinion, the toughest woman I've seen in a very long time in Impact Wrestling.
Okay. In Impact, okay.
Yeah, I know a lot of people were like about to type. What the hell are you writing, ladies and gentlemen?
Oh, I was right about to just say Thunder Rosa.
No.
But anyway.
In Impact, I will say that about Impact.
So match number 8 was the tag team title match. So we get Chris Sabin and James Storm versus Private Party versus the Good Brothers. Man, this was so fun. Sabin just goes all out with the Private Party. Tells them that like they don't need Matt Hardy. He's leading them down the wrong road and all this stuff. And this match was just great. Yeah. Great match. Like really fun too. But the end comes when Gallows grabs a chair, and while the ref is trying to get rid of it, Matt Hardy slips into the ring, hits James Storm with a twist of fate. They roll Storm and Private Party roll Storm into the corner. Quinn goes to do a shooting star, which was picture perfect in the height he got on that shooting star.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
He literally became a shooting star.
Yeah, essentially. But just before he did it, Anderson's able to tap his boot, and that counts as a tag. The ref calls it and everything. So Anderson just jumps into the ring, chucks out Quinn, and pins Storm so quickly that like Isaiah Cassidy in the corner doesn't even realize what's going on until it's too late. After the match, you have Matt Hardy chewing out Private Party, like just tearing them apart, telling Quinn like, "How stupid are you? He tagged you. You heard the ref say tag, and you still jumped for the move. How you're an idiot." Turns around, looks at Isaiah, and he's like, "And where the hell were you? You should have been there to break up that pin. You should have been ready." Like, man, it looks like Hardy Party is about to implode.
Yeah. So my view on this match, I completely agree with a lot of people who have talked about it. I think, no disrespect to James Storm, I am huge James Storm fan, and he will always be one of my favorites. But I am just thinking, God, if Alex Shelley had been in there,
I know.
this match was perfect. This match was a good match. I'm not going to knock anybody out, but I really believe if Alex Shelley was in this, this would be a match people would not be able to stop talking about.
I agree. I think this would have had everybody going nuts.
Private Party, I'm loving the Matt Hardy, but him yelling at the guys because it is classic. You know, I've been there. I know how to win. Yep. You guys literally screwed up.
Well, no, he literally handed them the titles. Matt Hardy, you didn't need to roll James Storm into the corner to do your shooting star press.
Yeah.
You didn't need to. You could have just pinned him right there, and you probably would have won.
Mm-hmm. I am thinking the way they're going to go with this is Private Party is going to either... I'm looking at a good-bad situation. In the bad sense is, I see nothing but great things with Matt Hardy with Private Party. I love their dynamic. I think it's fun that Matt Hardy is being the veteran, telling them, guys, I've been there. Just do what I say, and you will win. I hope they don't do the bad thing, which is leave, because it's like, no, we're not going to be your stooges anymore. We're going to be our own men. I think they should do that down the road.
Agreed.
The good is that they finally just do what Matt Hardy says, and the results speak for themselves. Like if they became tag team champions.
Yes, they are slowly doing that. They're doing more and more heel things. They're more open to it. They just, instead of arguing with Matt, they just kind of jump on it now. You know, so I'm liking where it's going. Yeah. I agree with you. It's really cool and interesting.
And the Good Brothers, I'm happy they won. I think they were the guys who should have won.
Yes.
Sorry, Private Party, I think it would have been too soon. And Sabin and Storm just didn't seem like a team I could see winning.
I'm not behind them as a championship team. I'll be honest.
It just doesn't have the feel. But the Good Brothers winning, I love it because it continues this fun thing of them just being champions with Kenny Omega.
Yep. And the Young Bucks.
Yeah, and the Young Bucks. So I'm happy that they're champions still. So I think the right team won this match.
I mean, like every time I see Young Bucks and Good Brothers on the screen together, I get to see the AEW tag team titles and the Impact tag team titles next to each other on the same screen. Let's face it, that's gonna get a great reaction out of me for a while still.
Oh, very much. I still never believed that this is happening.
Oh man, just seeing the US IWGP champion and seeing Moxley holding the belt in the AEW graphic was like, whoa.
I don't think anyone can disagree, but the image of the masked man attacking Moxley and then unveiling to be Kenta is maybe the most hardest I've marked ever, because I could not believe Kenta was there.
Oh man, I was speechless. Literally, I was speechless in that moment. It was so cool. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. One thing about this match that I just want to bring up, Tony Khan, on his last ad, did insinuate that he would be coming back to the Impact Zone soon. So I thought he was going to come to No Surrender and get involved in this match and make sure Private Party won, and he didn't. So now I'm super curious to know what happens next with Tony Khan.
Yeah.
His team lost. What's his next play?
I am very excited with anything Tony Khan does now.
Mm-hmm. So, last match of the night, Tommy Dreamer versus Rich Swann for the Impact World title.
Mm-hmm.
And like I predicted, it wasn't an amazing match, but it was a damn good one.
Oh, definitely.
The doctor spot was weird for me because you're teasing that you're gonna call off the match because of a broken finger. Are you purposely trying to insult like the original Sin Cara with this joke, or it was to me? I'm like, it's Tommy Dreamer, dude. Like, we all know he's just gonna pop that finger back into place and go. Like, this is no.
Yeah, I kind of was like, oh, come on.
Having the doctor come down was stupid. Everything else was good because they kept on the fingers. Like, Swann kept going back, and he's not. Swann doesn't do finger spots.
No.
As a wrestler, so it was different for him. But eventually, like, after kicking out of everything that Swann has, eventually a final Phoenix Splash does put him down. Tommy Dreamer, the dream has ended. It is over.
Yeah.
They don't even have the time to embrace or do anything at all, and Moose is already in there kicking both of their asses. Holding both belts up like he is king of the fucking world, man. And I'm just sitting here going, yes.
Yes. So my view of this match, and something I want to rewind to.
Yeah.
Rich Swann had a promo he cut.
That's true, yeah.
On the show, and talked about, and he did the best thing with this match. He said pretty much, and I'm not going to try to directly quote him. I'm just going to paraphrase from my own view. He pretty much said, I respect Tommy Dreamer, but I'm going to hurt you. I'm going to do whatever I can to remain champion.
Yeah, and I didn't bring up the birthday wishes either, but I will say MJF saying, "Happy birthday, Tommy. Can't wait to see you croak in the ring." Was like, Jericho broke in that moment, and so did I. He was laughing so hard. Comment.
But I was let's sadly admit it. There was a part of us that wanted Tommy to win, but we all knew it wasn't going to happen.
Even I kind of wanted him to win a little bit. Yeah, they did good.
I may be pushing it when I say it, but the only time I had that feeling is Ric Flair versus Shawn Michaels. Oof. And it was only because I was like, I know Ric Flair's not going to retire.
That is one thing I want to say. I hated when they replicated that moment.
Yeah.
When he's in the corner, got his fist up just like Shawn Michaels does, and he's like, "I love you, Tommy. I'm sorry, man." And then Tommy counters the kick. I'm like, oh. The symbolism of you countering that moment only works if you would have won the match.
Yeah.
And you would have had to have won it in that moment. Like right after countering that super kick. But that's weird storytelling to me right there. But they wanted to do that moment. They wanted to replicate it, I guess. Go for it. Bad call, in my opinion, but
I completely agree on that. I see where they're going with it. They're doing the old dog. He's trying to just get one last win. But I think it should have just literally gone none of that stuff like I just said with the Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair thing. It should have just gone with straight up, oh, he couldn't win it.
Yeah. So the camera starts going off air. Well, we think it's going off air with Moose holding both belts, but then we get one last thing that we see. We get one little graphic showing us that Fin Juice are coming to Impact.
Which is fucking beautiful. Excuse my language. I had to say it. That's the only word I can say.
Man, Juice Robinson, Fit Finley, David Finley, like Fit Finley's son, like, oh, these guys are established in New Japan. These guys are an amazing tag team, and they're great singles guys.
Very true. Yes.
Juice maybe better than Finley is, or more better known as a singles guy than Finley is, but Finley can go. So
yeah, I think what made me so happy with this moment, and for a lot of fans who are listening to this, they can agree. Everybody knows that there was a relationship between Impact and New Japan a long time ago.
Yeah.
And it was ruined because the people at that time ruined Okada.
And Sonata. Everybody forgets about it, but Sonata was there too, and they dropped the ball.
He was X Division champion too. Yeah. They dropped the ball, and I mean, really, how horrible do you have to be to drop the ball on not just Sonata, who is one of the best in the business today, but Okada of all people.
Yeah. And the worst part is, the third man that was at Impact with them was Shinsuke Nakamura.
Yeah.
Shinsuke was with them, so Shinsuke is just watching them botch these two kids at the time, and he goes, "Nope, we're going back."
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say I knew Okada was going to be the Rainmaker. Nobody did.
Nobody knew he was going to be that big, but everybody could see he was talented.
Yeah, but from a lot of sites and a lot of interviews, Impact has literally the story is going that they went to Japan. And the first thing they didn't just go to management. They went to the locker room, went to Okada. They went to all the talent and just simply apologized for what happened. They just basically...
Yeah, that would go a really long way.
They literally said, guys, I know you guys are thinking that we're the company that royally screwed you guys over.
But we're not the same people.
That's not that. And obviously it's now working. Now they believe it because a New Japan team is coming over.
Having Don Callis alone, like Don Callis did commentary for New Japan for like a year straight. So I mean, that helps. If it wasn't for Don Callis, Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho in New Japan would not have happened. I strongly believe that is because of Don Callis. I agree with him.
I completely agree.
So the one last thing I want to talk about is the big news that was announced earlier this morning.
All right, let's hear it.
Sammy Guevara.
This name.
Yep. So Sammy Guevara, I'm a big fan. I love Sammy's work.
Oh yeah.
He reportedly Sammy Guevara was supposed to be at the Impact tapings. So possibly Sammy would have been in the Revolver match. Possibly Sammy would have been #1 contender for the X Division. See, this is why I think Josh Alexander was put in there all of a sudden, and Matt Cardona was no longer teamed up with him. And so apparently Impact Creative and AEW Creative had agreed upon a storyline for Sammy going into Impact. And Sammy had agreed upon it from that point. He's like, cool. He told AEW he was fine with the story. Then he started texting Impact Creative with different ideas constantly, being like, oh, I don't like that, so let's do this, let's do this. They couldn't come to an agreement when it came to what to do creatively. The creative standpoint. There we go. But the final straw came when Impact found out that Sammy changed his flight. Sammy was supposed to get there the day before the tapings. He apparently changed his flight to only arrive at Impact a couple hours before the TV tapings. So they're like, first of all, you said you were good with our plan, and then you threw it away, and you're not. We can't come to an agreement creative-wise, and we were going to take like the day before to hash this out with you face-to-face, but now you're only giving us a few hours to figure out how to a storyline for you and bring you into a TV taping, not a single episode, a TV taping. No, go home. We don't need you. If that is what happened, I do not blame Impact for reacting the way they did.
Absolutely not.
But
Yeah.
we never know. We never know the full story. But
Here's the way I'm looking at it. Sammy Guevara, let's just face it, is just a great talent.
yes.
Unbelievable talent. If Chris Jericho is putting his arm around you, you know you're a good talent. Let's just face
Exactly.
that. If in my opinion the greatest of all time, Chris Jericho, says you're a great talent, you're in there.
Yes.
But I'm looking at it from everything you've said. If AEW and Impact are trying to make this work, and you suddenly are kind of causing it not to work,
yeah.
that's going to cause a problem. I don't think it's going to cause a major problem. I think AEW and Impact are smart enough
They'll
to
work
see
it out.
They'll work it out because, we see Kenny Omega, the Good Brothers, Young Bucks, and, all the ways this is working out. I'm very worried about what this is going to make Sammy Guevara look like.
Yes.
Because nobody wants to work with somebody who is egotistical.
Yeah. And he can be, from all accounts. But like this sounds like a Scott D'Amore thing to me. This sounds like that we talked about how Scott D'Amore can be. No nonsense to an extent, right? So he's just like, you're wasting my time, I don't need you, go away.
Mm-hmm.
And that very much feels like something Scott D'Amore would have done in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not surprised. Don
Be...
Callis is apparently the guy who messaged Jericho and told Jericho, like, hey, you might want to get a hold of Sammy and tell him he shouldn't go.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
And at the same time, people can say Scott D'Amore should do what's best for Impact. But guess what? If you're the boss of the company, it's your way or the highway. And we can all say, if we don't, or I can say until I'm blue in the face that I don't agree with Ace Austin not winning against Josh Alexander. We could sit here until I'm blue in the face and talk about how I think Moose should have been in the main event instead of Tommy Dreamer. But guess what, guys? We can say all that. Guess who's in charge of the company? That's
D'Amore
it.
Callis.
That's the end result. And, that's a pet peeve I have. We can say whatever we want. And Sammy Guevara can say whatever he wants. But,
yeah. And
he's
that's
not
one
the
thing.
guy.
Sammy hasn't made a statement yet.
Yeah.
I will say that.
I'm hoping to God this, gets resolved.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping this does not hurt Sammy Guevara, because it could. Let's be honest. If people find out you do not want to play the game, if you don't want to play ball, why would I want you on my roster? Even if you're a good wrestler.
Yeah. Like, with all the deals they have, I feel like he could show up in MLW. He could show up in New Japan Strong. He could show up... Triple A's not running right now. Not really. If they were, he could show up down there. But, like, that's the thing. Sammy is one of the... I really felt like the X Division was the perfect place for him, too. Like, yeah, let him go to Impact. Let him win the X Division title. Become his own man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really sad that's not happening.
Yeah.
Maybe they can find a workaround and make it happen after. But I think D'Amore made the right call. You don't want to bring somebody in to your TV tapings and then go in half-assed to a TV taping with something like that. But yeah, hopefully, like, No Surrender was great. We'll see where this leads. Moose is going to be kicking Rich Swan's ass soon, I'm sure. We need to find new contenders for the Good Brothers, and maybe that's going to happen through Tony Khan and Impact, in AEW, sorry.
I'm going to throw in a team I hope shows up in Impact, and I hope fans who watch MLW will agree with it. I truly hope Injustice shows up. I love Jordan Oliver, and I love Myron Reed. I just would love these guys to get a chance there. Like I said, when I see the Forbidden Door, I hope fans aren't thinking Impact, AEW, and New Japan. I'm hoping this helps for all other companies as well.
Everybody. Yeah.
But, yes, I completely agree. Good Brothers need a new team to
And
face.
like, it doesn't need to be Finjuice.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be Finjuice right away.
I am
Like,
hoping they don't do that because I will be very much like, oh, don't do that.
yeah. But so I think we're gonna wrap it up for here tonight, guys.
All right.
Like, share, subscribe.